Doctor Who is like sand. I'm not saying it's always coarse, rough, or irritating, but it does get everywhere. The Whoniverse has been referenced in so many other TV shows across the decades. So many, in fact, that we've already done a couple of lists on this subject, and that still wasn't enough. So let's go again, shall we? I'm Ellie for Who Culture, here with 10 even more times Doctor Who appeared in other TV shows. Number 10, Bluey. Beloved by children and parents the world over, Australian animated series Bluey is nothing short of a sensation. The adventures of the blue dog and her partly blue family are wildly popular and have won almost every award they could possibly win. A lead character in the show is Bandit, Bluey's father, and in one episode from season 3, he pretends to be a realtor in an attempt to sell their house. Just a casual bit of fraud in a kids show, you know, as you do. One prospective buyer notes that the house looks a little on the small side, to which Bandit replies, "It's bigger inside." Now where have we heard that before? You may dismiss this as a coincidence, but the whole bigger on the inside shtick is so synonymous with Doctor Who that this can't have been an accident. And if you're still not convinced, well, then talk to the official Bluey Twitter account who tagged Doctor Who in the clip. And then the Doctor Who account retweeted the post, just in case you thought there was beef between them. Number 9, Red Dwarf A to Z. At 36 years of age, cult comedy classic Red Dwarf joins Doctor Who as being one of the longest-running sci-fi shows in history. Doctor Who is still old enough to be its dad, though, mind you. The two properties have crossed paths a few times over the years, but perhaps the strangest example comes from a one-off special in 1998 called Red Dwarf A to Z. To celebrate Red Dwarf's 10th birthday, 26 clips were chosen and then matched up to a different letter of the alphabet, which is a fun spin on this sort of compilation show, I will admit. For the letter E, the word chosen was exterminate, and you can probably guess where this is going. Sure enough, a bunch of Daleks show up to give their thoughts on Red Dwarf, human television, and the works of Shakespeare. It's surreal to see the Whoniverse's most iconic villains turn up on another programme, especially in such a bizarre format. Any Whovians who've never seen Red Dwarf should definitely give it a shot, especially if you somehow haven't had your fill of quirky Brits travelling through space. Number 8, Match of the Day. Doctor Who has had a few run-ins with football over the years. I mean, see Matt Smith absolutely destroying some Sunday League noobs. But in 2024, those two worlds collided in the most direct way yet. Match of the Day is the most famous football results and analysis show in the world, and has been on the air since 1964, making it just 1 year younger than Doctor Who. During its opening title sequence on the 4th of May 2024, visions of the TARDIS whirling through the time vortex began to appear, along with some clips from older editions of the show. The TARDIS then lands in the future, and we see host Gary Lineker complete with cybernetic enhancements on his face, along with holographic co-host Ian Wright. They're joined by none other than the 15th Doctor, who gives his thoughts on the New York City of Manchester's latest match. Created to promote the then upcoming Season 1, this special intro was brilliant fun. It was nostalgic and clever without overstaying its welcome. A brilliant example of how you do cross-promotion with two of your properties. Interestingly, there is also a 4th Doctor novel called Match of the Day, although Cyber Lineker is nowhere to be seen. Number 7, Derry Girls. Derry Girls is a Channel 4 sitcom that, if you can believe it, centres on a group of girls living in the Northern Irish city of Derry. Across its 3 series, it made stars out of the likes of Saoirse Monica Jackson, Louisa Harland, and Nicola Coughlan, who is set to appear in Doctor Who's 2024 Christmas special, Joy to the World. That won't be her first brush with the Whoniverse, however. In the Derry Girls episode The Prom, lovable nerd James abandons the idea of going to his school prom so he can go to a convention regarding a certain TV show. Which show? Have a guess. James and his stepfather used to watch the show back in the day, so he's a bit of a fan. However, after his friend Erin is stood up by her original date, James swoops in and saves the day, accompanying her to the dance. All the while wearing the 4th Doctor's trademark long scarf, of course. I mean, what a style icon. Number 6, Invincible. If you like superhero stories but want something a bit edgier than your average Captain America flick, then Invincible might just be for you. Amazon's ultra-violent animated show is all about Mark Grayson, a teenager who inherits superhuman powers from his father, Omni-Man, one of the Earth's most beloved heroes. Not only must Mark learn to control his newfound strength, but he must also choose between living his normal life and following in his dad's rather hefty footsteps. In the Season 2 episode I'm Not Going Anywhere, where Mark and his girlfriend Amber go to a local comic convention, where they mingle with all sorts of devoted fans. Lurking in the background of certain shots, eagle-eyed Whovians may have been able to spot a blonde woman wearing a long grey jacket with blue trousers held up via suspenders, while her shirt has a colourful striped pattern around the chest. Sound familiar? This is, of course, an homage to Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor, and the main outfit she wore during her entire era. Was this just a cosplayer, or the Doctor herself keeping an eye on Earth's problems? Well, regardless, it was a lovely touch, even though most people won't have even noticed. Number 5. Better Off Ted. You'd have to be a very dedicated TV fan to have even heard of US sitcom Better Off Ted, let alone seen a single second of it. Starring Jay Harrington as an employee of a mega corporation with nefarious intentions, the show ran for just 2 seasons between 2009 and 2010, before low ratings saw its plug get pulled. Luckily for us though, it was able to spare some of its limited airtime to promote everyone's favourite quirky British sci-fi show. In the season 2 episode The Great Repression, Ted heads down to a dusty basement area, and in the background a familiar machine can be spotted. That right there is a Dalek. One of the Bronze Time War Daleks that debuted in the 2005 revival, to be exact. It's unclear if this is a real prop or a loving recreation, but either way, it certainly looks convincing. Contrary to popular belief, there weren't that many Bronze Daleks props floating around the BBC at the time, though perhaps the use of the multicoloured New Paradigm Daleks in 2010 allowed Better Off Ted to claim a Bronze Dalek for temporary use. Who knows? It's not like this Dalek has a massive impact on the plot or anything though. It's just there to show that the company Ted works for is so evil that it's got an intergalactic killing machine lying about the place. Number 4. Young Sheldon. As one of TV's premier nerd shows, it's no surprise that The Big Bang Theory has referenced Doctor Who many times over the years. But for the best and the clearest nod, you need to look at its prequel. Young Sheldon, which ran from 2017 to 2024, does exactly what it says on the tin. It's a look at main character Sheldon Cooper's life as a child and teenager. Since Sheldon is a pop culture fanatic, the show is full of references to comic books, video games, and science fiction, including in the season 7 episode A Proper Wedding and Skeletons in the Closet. The scene opens with Sheldon confronting a blue porta potty, only for it to transform into a replica of the TARDIS through the sheer power of geeky imagination. That's not the only thing that's changed, as Sheldon is now decked out in full-on 7th Doctor cosplay. All of this was done as a coping mechanism for Sheldon having to use the bathroom, by the way, which is really cool. Since this season of the show is set between 1993 and 1994, Sylvester McCoy would have been the most recent incarnation of the Doctor on TV, which is why he's the one that they went with. I love that attention to detail. Number 3. Coupling. Coupling was a sitcom that ran on the BBC between 2000 and 2004, detailing the lives of 3 men and 3 women in their 30s as they navigate their lives and relationships. It's also chock full of Doctor Who references, which will come as no surprise once you find out who wrote it. The show was the brainchild of none other than Stephen Moffat, who based it on his own relationship with producer Sue Vertue, who had previously worked with Moffat on his 1999 charity sketch The Curse of Fatal Death. With a Whovian duo running the show, the references were inevitable. These include one of the main characters, Oliver, owning a nerdy bookshop with a gigantic replica Dalek as one of its centerpieces. In the Series 4 episode Nightlines, Oliver also has a package that says exterminate when he hits the top of the box. Elsewhere, another character, Stephen Taylor, also the name of First Doctor companion, describes how he used to hide behind the sofa while watching Doctor Who. And there's even a Bring Back Doctor Who jumper visible at one point, since Coupling was written and broadcast before the show returned in 2005. It was during the 2005 series that Moffat wrote his first official Doctor Who story, The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances, so he got his wish and then some. Number 2. Call the Midwife. Call the Midwife is another long-running BBC show that chronicles the lives and times of a group of midwives working in a poor district of London. It's set during the 1950s and the 1960s, with the characters often commenting on the social phenomena of the day, including a certain sci-fi programme that made its debut around this time. In the 4th episode of Series 8, Sister Monica Joan is sat watching a tiny black and white TV. And who's that on the screen? Well, it's none other than William Hartnell, the First Doctor! Season 8 of Call the Midwife is set in 1964, so Doctor Who would have only been a few months old. The serial shown on the TV is The Aztecs, which started airing in May 1964. It's nice to see that Sister Monica Joan is jumping on the bandwagon so early, although there really wasn't that much else to watch at the time, let's be honest. Call the Midwife is very popular with certain Doctor Who characters too. 13th Doctor companion Graham O'Brien once mentioned that he's seen every single episode. Why is that not surprising in the slightest? Also, fun little Doctor Who family connection to Call the Midwife because 8th Doctor Paul McGann's brother, Stephen McGann, has appeared in every single episode of Call the Midwife as Dr. Patrick Turner. Number 1. Good Omens. Amazon's Good Omens adaptation has one gigantic Doctor Who reference in every single episode. One of the main characters is played by David Tennant, of course. The 10th and 14th Doctor actor plays Crowley, a demon who must work alongside the angel Aziraphale in order to prevent the destruction of the Earth via the Antichrist. In the show's first season, Crowley and Aziraphale are threatened with a fate worse than death by the respective forces of heaven and hell. The cowardly imp tries to avoid this problem by moving to a different planet, even going as far as to print out fact sheets for his potential new homes. While going through his choices, one sheet is shown to the camera depicting a large planet with a reddish-orange hue to it. This is Gallifrey, the Doctor's home world, as seen and destroyed in Doctor Who many times over the years. Oh, wait a second. Is this how the Doctor settled there in the first place? Is Crowley actually the original form of the Timeless Child? Is the Doctor actually a demon from hell? Well, stranger things have happened. As I mentioned in the intro, this is not our first list on this topic, so why not check out the others, which include 10 more times Doctor Who appeared in other TV shows. In the meantime, I've been Ellie for Who Culture, and in the words of Riversong herself, goodbye, sweeties.